Hello, friends. Welcome again to our channel, Gene and Renee Travel Adventures. Thank you for subscribing and thanks for watching and sharing. We appreciate it, you helping us to grow our channel. If you hear a dog in the background barking, it's not Jenny, we're in Mexico, so there's always a dog in the background barking. Well, in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about violence. We've had more than a few friends and family members who tell us that they fear for our safety. One newscast in the USA about some American tourists getting killed in Mexico, and it's like they're expecting us to come floating home in a body bag. One family member asked, "Why in the do you want to be in Mexico?" Everyone should know, unless you live under a rock or you're just the biggest racist in the world, that Mexico is a beautiful country. And just like her friends to the north and south, Mexico has beautiful mountain ranges, sandy beaches, scenic lakes, and some of the nicest and most accommodating people on the planet. Now, do you have some crime? Yes. Do bad things happen in Mexico? Yes. And we're going to explore some of the violence in this episode and find out what some people are afraid to admit. Let me just give some simple stats. The population of Mexico is around 130 million. Canada has about 39 million, and the USA has about 333 million. Some people think that only a handful of USA and Canadians with a death wish cross that southern border and live in Mexico. According to the United States State Department, the number of people from the USA living at least part of the year in Mexico is 1.6 million. Of those, about 130,000 live on the Baja California Peninsula, as it's close to and it's easy travel back and forth to California. Canadians make up a smaller portion, with around 15,000 living in Mexico, at least by the reports that I read. Considering that the population of the USA is about 8.3 times the population of Canada, it would be like saying that they've got 124,000 living in Mexico, which they don't, in case you weren't really paying close attention to my point. To put this in percentages, less than 1/20th of 1% of Canadians live at least part of the year in Mexico, as compared to about half of 1% of USA citizens who live at least part of the year in Mexico. Now, before we look at the violence in Mexico, let's understand a little bit more about the USA. According to the FBI, there are 33,000 violent street gangs, motorcycle gangs, and prison gangs criminally active in the USA today. Many are sophisticated and well organized. All use violence to control neighborhoods and boost their illegal money-making activities, which include robbery, drug and gun trafficking, prostitution, and human trafficking and fraud. Many gang members continue to commit crimes even after they've been sent to jail. In an FBI report, there are 1.5 million gang members in the USA. Hear that again, 1.5 million gang members in the USA. Quite shocking when you think there are more than that now. According to Wikipedia, a 2008 FBI report noted that between 1 and 2% of the U.S. military has affiliation with a gang. As of April 2011, the National Ground Intelligence Center had identified members of at least 53 gangs whose members were actively serving in the United States Armed Forces. I'm shocked by this. According to the Department of Justice, gangs have been reported in all 50 states and have had a persistent presence in all cities with a population of over 250,000 every year since 1996. Now, according to the National Youth Gang Center, in a 2005 report, gang problems remain the most widespread in large cities of populations greater than 100,000, with nearly 99% of law enforcement agencies in these cities reporting multiple years of gang problems. Now, school data is a little old, but I doubt things have gotten better. If anything, they've gotten worse. In a 2007-2008 report, so this is like 15 years ago, 20% of public schools said that they had gang activity in the school. In 2007, 23% of students ages 12 to 18 reported that there were gangs at their schools. Over half of schools with 1,000 or more students reported that gang activities occurred during the school year, while less than a quarter of schools with less than 1,000 students reported the problem. According to a 2023 article in Newsweek, in an average year, U.S. deaths in Mexico are 194, of which 60 are homicides. Now, about 134 people die from shark attacks, car wrecks, heart attacks, or whatever else, but 60 Americans do die in Mexico on an average year at the hands of someone else. How scary is that? I've looked, but I can't find the answer. But I wonder how many Mexicans die at the hands of someone else in the USA? More or less than 60? I don't know. Okay, so 60 Americans are murdered annually in Mexico, but is it really extremely safer in the USA? I mean, when you think about that, think about the top 5 mass shootings. October 2nd, 2017, the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas, 60 were killed, more than 850 injured. In June 2016, 49 were killed at the Pulse in Orlando, Florida, and 53 were injured. Go back to 2007, April, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia, 32 killed, 17 injured on a college campus. And then who can forget the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, December 2012, 26 killed. And First Baptist Church, Sutherland Springs, Texas, November 2017, 26 killed, 20 injured. Or the 12 who were killed at a Virginia Beach, Virginia governmental office building in 2019. Crime is an issue in the Americas. Of the 100 most dangerous cities in the world, 90% are in the Americas. For this video, we're looking at Mexico and Canada and the U.S., but in this video, of those 100 most dangerous cities in Mexico, Chihuahua, Reynosa, Tepic, Ensenada, Celaya, Coatzacoalcos, Maceo, Ciudad Obregón, Uruapan, Culiacán, Cancun, Irapuato, Ciudad Juarez, Ciudad Victoria, Acapulco, and Tijuana. I don't speak Spanish well, so I know I butchered most of those cities, except for maybe Tijuana and Acapulco and Cancun. But of those 100 most dangerous cities in the world, in the USA, New Orleans, Detroit, San Juan, Baltimore, and St. Louis. Now, it said dangerous, not just directed at foreigners, but dangerous, period. So you have to think that through when you think about all those cities in Mexico, that dangerous for the people there too. In the United States, I'd add to that list Camden, New Jersey, Kansas City, Missouri, Wilmington, Delaware, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Cleveland, Ohio, Baltimore, Maryland, Little Rock, Arkansas, Birmingham, Alabama, Detroit, Philadelphia, Dayton, Ohio, Chicago, Portland, Oregon, New York City, Norfolk, Virginia, Houston, Albuquerque, South Bend, Indiana, and Memphis, Tennessee. I wonder, do all the other countries, do their State Department give a warning, don't travel to Albuquerque? I don't know. I've had several people on our channel said, you know what, America's real good at pointing out how bad everyone else's crime stinks, but a little nonchalant when it comes to their own. Now, while there are cities in Mexico that I definitely would not go out in after dark, there are cities in the USA that I would not be walking around during the daytime. In the USA, it seems that there is a lot of randomness to being a victim of crime. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You were the victim of a drive-by shooting, a victim of road rage. You worked at the office building where someone was disgruntled, at a school where some kid brought mama's Glock to school, or driving down the street when someone on a bridge decided to start shooting random people because he got picked on in school 20 years ago. A lot of randomness. In Mexico, there's certainly some of that, but for the most part, the great percentage of cartel violence is not directed toward tourists. It's directed towards other cartels or the police. Cartels are in business to make money. Tourism brings in money. If the tourists stop coming because of fear of safety, it affects the economy of cash coming in. Simple economics. What removes you from the danger zone and greatly increases your life expectancy is to stay at home after dark, Don't buy drugs. Don't sell drugs. Don't ask about drugs. Don't take pictures of people buying or selling drugs. Don't be stupid. Will you be safe? Well, you'll be a lot safer than if you did those stupid things. Will you live to be 100? Can't promise you that one. But I think studies show that when you live a less stressful life, when you eat healthier food, when you slow your roll down and enjoy life, you will live longer. Travel Safe Abroad ranks all countries and gives them a score between 1 and 100 as to their safety level. A 100 means you can walk around the country at 2 a.m., go home, not lock your car door and leave the front door wide open, and you'll be perfectly fine. A low score like 1 means that you're not going to make it if you travel there. Save your family the trouble, dig a hole, fall into it. They analyze data from public sources such as police reports, international polls. Then they calculate the risk based on the number of incidents, including muggings, drugs, violent crimes, bribery, property crimes, stolen vehicles, religion, and racial tolerance, and more. Okay, unless you just like the threat of violence, stay out of countries like Yemen, Syria, North Korea, and South Sudan. I mean, common sense, right? Some of the safest countries to travel to are Iceland, Denmark, Austria, and Singapore. But how about the USA, Canada, and Mexico? I mean, they're the 3 largest countries that make up North America. Well, Canada gets a score of 88, one of the safest countries in the world. The USA comes in second with a score of 68. Now, second in the North American, the 3 big countries. Mexico is only 3 points lower with a score of 65. Surprised? According to research done by CNN from January 2009 to May of 2018, Brazil, Canada, and France each experienced 2 school shootings. Afghanistan had 3 during that 10-year period. Nigeria and Pakistan, where there seems to be no shortage of guns, 4 school shootings. South Africa had 6. Mexico had, are you ready for this? 8. And the record that no one is proud of goes to the USA with 288 incidents of shots fired on school grounds. The power of the cartels is based on money, pure and simple. Money allows them to buy people, guns, elections, and property. Money allows them to bribe government, judges, and police. Where did they get that money from? American drug consumers. Americans who do drugs are willing to pay lots of money to get them. The cartels are not street gangs. They are a kind of company dedicated to illicit business. In other words, business is their priority. They will do what suits them to get the most money. A simple understanding is that their goal is to sell drugs in the United States. To sell drugs, they need to control the routes. That's their main concern. That is why they have these small armies, which are really just escorts and lookouts on the drug trafficking routes. They will also bribe the local police. Almost everything the cartels do can be explained on economic grounds. Are you planning a trip to Mexico and you're worried about crime? I suggest the same thing, that if you're planning a visit to the USA, do your homework. Know the areas that you're traveling to. Know what's going on there. Don't just take the word of the media outlets, because they each have their own agenda and opinions. You want facts, not opinions. So do your research. Don't be lazy about this. Stay away from drugs. Eat an earlier dinner and be home at night. Don't advertise your wealth. Leave valuables at home. Stay with a larger group if you can. I've traveled in 44 countries and lived a year and a half outside the USA. Friends, the world has some amazing things to see, some wonderful adventures to have, and some extraordinary people to meet. It's not always what you hear it is. Thank you for watching our channel. We really do appreciate your support. Be sure to watch for our next video. Until then, Dios te bendiga, mi amigos.